Welcome back, high school hockey fans. It's another edition of This Week in Wisconsin Prep Hockey. The state tournament is here, and we got plenty to talk about. So let's go ahead and dive right in with the fellas. Burglar, boy, I tell you what, you had a busy week. You were at a number of games. You and Dan both were at games, and we'll start out with you, Bill. Which ones did you see, and how exciting were they?
They were all exciting. They were all they were all very good hockey games. I have to say, first, let's see. Thanks to Brian Brandt, the athletic director for Wausau West, who got us into the Storm, the Central Wisconsin Storm versus Northland Pines Eagle game, and then followed up with Wausau West versus Spash Panthers game, which were both on Tuesday night at Marathon Park, and it was sold out. So we had to pull some strings and get our press passes in there and get in our back little corner. But two great games. Northland Pines Eagles defense and Lucy Nowak. Lucy Nowak stopped 51 out of 52 shots in that game. Um, that was, I mean, that was pretty much the story of the game. The shots on goal were uh, 51 for Central Wisconsin and 15 for the Northland Pines Eagles, but the Eagles capitalized on two of theirs, one in the second period and one in the first period. Um, a shorthanded goal by Lily Tomlanovich. It was beauty. It was took a face off down in the storm zone following an icing, poked the puck between the opposing center's leg, stepped around the center on her forehand, and whistled a shot that just snuck inside the post before Cami Floor, the Storm goalie, could get over and shut that off. Um, Pines added an even strength goal later, or early in the second period. Central Wisconsin tried getting back into it. Madeline Kelter took matters into her own hand, picked up the puck in the center and kind of looped around and made her way back to the center and fired a wrist shot just inside the post for the only one that got past Nowak. But no scoring the third period. Jenna Wemmer sent us some comments after the game about her team has trouble scoring, and you could see it. They'd come up the ice and they'd be passing the puck. They'd pass the puck to the slot in the center and uh, either miss the pass, whiff on the shot. I mean, they had chances. The ones they put on goal, Nowak stopped. The other ones they just missed. It was an exciting game if you're a Pines fan. Um, Not so much for Central Wisconsin. Then right after that, we saw the Spash Panthers uh, play the Wausau West Warriors in what we had as what the number two and three seed, I think. I think Spash was the third seed, West was the fourth. And this was a hard fought game. Up, I don't know who entered the stuff on our site, but they did a half-ass job. It doesn't have any of the normal game stuff that we look forward to. I didn't think it was even possible to enter the stats this way anymore, but um, I think it was a big second period that doomed Wausau West, as I recall in that game. Uh, Spash was just crashing the net. Molsky had a goal and an assist. Jace Deedy had a goal and an assist. Um, shots were fairly high, and even they were 46 and 43 shots, and Zach Burdick just came up really big, stopping 45 of them. And then Spash was able to advance to face Hudson in Chippewa Falls. Funny story that was in Chippewa Falls. Ram hockey, Mick Pudrock and Melissa Martin, the AD there for Altoona. They had they had originally thought they were going to be Division Two, and they had put in to host the Division Two sectional final in Altoona. Um, then they got bumped up to Division One, and they asked to get out of their commitment for the final, and the WIA said no. So last week they made the call and they sent it to the Chippewa Falls Arena
Yep.
instead. And that was the best high school hockey game I have seen in a number of years. I'm not going to put a specific number out there, but those guys were banging. They were flying up and down the ice. I had seen Smash before and I knew they were fast. And Hudson was just as fast and bigger and skilled, and they were banging each other all over the place. It was a great game. The teams traded goals pretty much even. You know, Smash would score, Hudson would score. Smash would score, Hudson would score. Uh, Hudson tied it up with less than a minute left, and the goalie pulled. And then got one of those weird goals in overtime. It's 2:24 in overtime. Grady Miller won the faceoff clean back to Jackson Fleece. One of the smash forwards kind of drove two uh, Hudson defenders. So there's like a block of three guys right in front of the goaltender Cramber. And the shot came in from the point. It got through all those bodies, and Cranber never moved until he suddenly turned his head when he saw the puck go by. That was it. He never saw the puck. The where I put it in the story who the player was because he's not credited with an assist, but he got drove. You know, he created the screen in front of the net that led to that ultimate goal. The only problem I had with this game uh, was the time and location. It should have been this upcoming Saturday at 7 o'clock down at the Cap Ice. If you believe our, rankings, which consistently had Wausau West, Spash, and Hudson as the top three teams in the state. No offense to Edgewood or U School or De Pere, but for my money, and my money doesn't go very far, uh, this was the championship game, and it was everything you could ask for in a championship game. It was just it was fun to watch. Um, they had a a nice area for Brett to take pictures from, and he took like 200 pictures. If you get a chance, go to the write up of the story and look at some of those pictures, some of the action shots. You'll see guys banging each other all over the ice. It was a great game. The referees kind of let them play a little bit. Um, yeah, there are only five penalties in the whole game, but just exciting. Just a shame that it was a sectional final game, limited to 1,200 people. At Chippewa Falls. Just a fantastic game.
Bill, how far into
Yes,
overtime? How far into overtime
about two and a
was
half
the game
minutes.
winner?
Two and a half.
Was that kind of surprising to you? Figured it'd been a lot longer. I
Well,
mean,
you
these
never know
teams
with
being so
overtime.
even. Yeah, I
Next goal
know, but
wins.
with these two teams being so even, I guess
Yeah,
would
they
think.
both had good goalies, so you never I was kind of expected to see, at some point they're going to get down to 3-on-3. But like I say, that they set up a perfect screen, got the puck through, he never saw it, and that was it. Um, and then on Saturday, we went up to Eagle River to see Northland Pines and Mosinee play. They had split during the season. And yeah, a wild second period. The first period, it looked like uh, this was going to be a cakewalk for Northland Pines. I mean, they dominated play. Josh Graves, defenseman, um, yeah, he's my favorite player from D2 this year. He controls everything from his defensive spot. He scored in the first period, and then the second period was just wild. Mosini scored twice in like 48 seconds. Pines tied it up. A couple minutes later, Mosini went back ahead. Pines tied it up, and then Pines got the what proved to be the game-winning goal. Cooper Sari, number six, picked up the puck in his end and just streaked down the ice, and he had one defenseman to beat. And he did the old "here she is, there she goes" toe drag, and just kind of left that the defenseman kind of clutching at his jockstrap. Then came in and just roofed one on the goaltender to put Pines up 4-3 at that point. And then they added an empty net goal later. Um, Also, it was a great game. Both teams gave it everything they had out there, banging. Not quite as physical as the Spash Hudson game, but equally as exciting. And Brett, my grandson and photographer, says, we were stuck in a corner with some of the Pines parents and a lot of, I don't want to say little girls, junior high or underclassmen, and they're kind of screaming and stuff. But he said, Brett said, the thing about it up here is they all know their hockey, so they're not doing dumb stuff. I mean, they all understand the game and they all know what's going on. So even though they were noisy and chattering and stuff, they had a good grasp of what was happening on the ice. So hats off to the fans who were seated near us up there in Eagle River, and it was just like four excellent hockey games. Makes me sad I missed so much of the season with my issues, but yeah, great, great, great time. Tired, got home about quarter to one.
It's a lot of driving. You're all over the place. And
Yeah. Oh, and I have to apologize to Dan Gilkerson. No, and no, Dan has to apologize. I have to apologize to Matt Humple. Um, I was supposed to go on Friday night. I was supposed to go up to Hayward to see the Division 2 game because yeah, my two favorite Division 2 Western teams have always been Amory and Somerset, and I was going to go to the Amory game, but circumstances outside of hockey kind of spoiled that for me. So I didn't go up there. I went to the game in Chippewa Falls instead. But yeah, those are like the only two sectional finals I was at last year. I was in Amory and I was in Somerset for those, but those are the only two we didn't have anybody um, covering this year. So sorry, Dan and Matt. Uh, we'll get better. And that was it. That was a fun time for me and Brett.
talking about that Spash Hudson game, boy, I bet there was so many people there. That had to have been a pretty hot ticket.
Well, they were limited to 1,200. I mean, that's what that the seating capacity there was 1,200, and they pretty much stopped it at that. And yeah, I mean, they could have squeezed more people in all around the thing and stuff, but you know, 1,200, that's it. So yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of people who would have liked to have seen that game but couldn't.
Hey, you don't want to upset the fire marshal, no doubt about that.
Ooh, he'll shut you down.
Yeah, yeah, he will. Dan Bauer, you were on the road again, and you got to catch some games as well.
Yes, started on Tuesday. I went over to Cornerstone in Green Bay to catch the Bay Area Fox Cities game. And as I'm walking in the rink that night, there's a guy walking in front of me with a Mike Ruzioni jersey on. And And I get inside and watch Fox Cities come out in their red, white, and blue jerseys. And I was like, oh man, this is looking like an upset here tonight. And there was an upset that night, but it was in Wausau. And instead of staying in my own backyard, I drove hour and a half over to Fox Cities. Did not see nearly the exciting game I was hoping to see. Fox Cities the two had just played like a couple weeks ago, and Bay Area beat them 2-1. Really close game, obviously. And I think everybody was pretty excited that this was going to be a really, really good contest. 3 minutes into the game, Fox Cities lost their captain. One of their captains, Margaret Thomas, went down the corner. She stayed down for quite a while, then kind of hobbled off the ice and never did get back on the ice for the rest of the game. So really like 2 or 3 minutes into the game, they lost probably their one of their top two players. She has 15 goals on the year, had really been playing well down the stretch. So I think emotionally, that was a big thing, big hurdle for them to get over. And then, of course, just losing her physically and what she's able to bring on the ice. So yeah, that things just continue to go downhill for Fox Cities, and Faye Brunke got Bay Area off, scoring first, 7:35 of the first period, and they put three more up before the end of the period. And I just think the Fox Cities kind of was glad just to get to the locker room, maybe try to regroup, see if they can, get things put back together and come back out in the second period. Bay Area got a goal 5 minutes into the second period, and then another one late in the period to make it 6-0. And obviously, at that point, the prospects of coming back are not looking great, and they did not. And game ended up 9-1, and the Bay Area outshot Fox Cities 42-8. So it's kind of some of the things I thought, I guess maybe no one else saw it. I kind of thought maybe Bay Area looked like they're getting a little weary from being the defending champs, or maybe weren't quite at the level they were a year ago, but they sure dispelled that in a hurry that night, and came away with a very convincing victory. Brunke ended up with a hat trick and 3 assists, so she had 6 points on the night. And I think every time I go watch them play, she plays great. So maybe she should make sure I'm at all of her games. But just a great performance. And Lily Lyons had 2 goals and 2 assists for Bay Area, and of course they moved on then to the section final against Lakeshore Lightning. Then on Friday night, traveled to Somerset. Or, yeah, to Somerset. I'm getting mixed up here. Yeah, traveled to Somerset to see the Fusion and Western Wisconsin play. And this would be the third time that these two teams played. They split their regular season meetings. I believe they each won 3-2. And this was a really good hockey game from start to finish. I knew it would be. I mean, two really evenly matched teams that have all kids from just a very small geographic area there, all know each other, do lots of things in the off season, play on, teams, pre-post teams together. So parents and players all well versed with each other. But really, a really good game. Started off Western Wisconsin, really kind of controlled. I thought maybe the first 8 minutes of the game, 7 minutes, and did get on the board at 2:41. Chloe Julson got a goal, put Western up 1-0. And then penalty on Western Wisconsin just to pass the 10-minute mark. And that really flipped the game. Jane Volgren pounded home a rebound from a Oakley Holdorf shot from the point to tie it at 1-1, and the Fusion just really seemed to kind of take off from there for the rest of the period. And then Jane Volgren, who really knows how to score, scored with 48 seconds left in the period, late in the period, where she just kind of came in, cut across the blue line, and took a shot that I think handcuffed Sierra Andert a little bit. And so the Fusion ended up taking a 2-1 lead into the locker room after one. The second period, Western Wisconsin, Ashley Jensen tied it. And then kind of the play that changed the game, I think, with 12 at 12:46 of the second period, Jensen got a breakaway for Western Wisconsin. She was being heavily pursued. Went to her forehand, tried to get around the goaltender, and Caitlin Gustafson sort of poke check, I guess would be what I would call. And puck didn't go in, puck wound up in the corner, but at the same time, she was making the save, whether you want to call it, she was making the save, or I'm not sure, but Jensen went down, and of course, everybody yelled and was wanted a tripping penalty. But the puck got picked up by the Fusion, immediately fired to center ice, where Lily Middle was at the red line, and then she went down across the blue line and scored. And that put the Fusion up 3-2. There was a lot of debate and a lot of hollering, and the referees got called over, but in the end, there was no penalty called. And then the Fusion came out in the third period, and Volgren completed her hat trick just 47 seconds into the third period. Kind of, you know, very great timely goal for them. But then again, 2-goal leads, worst lead in hockey, but not on this particular night because the Fusion closed it out and end up winning 4-2 to get their ticket to the state tournament. Western outshot them for the game 31-28, but in the end, the Fusion came away with the win. And then Saturday, I'm writing up the story Saturday morning, and then went to the Augsburg, um, Gustavus Adolphus Mayak playoff game at 4 o'clock in Minneapolis, and then had plans to go watch Somerset and River Falls at 7 o'clock. But the Augsburg, where my daughter coaches, and Gustavus game had to go into overtime. Of course, last year Augsburg, I think, played 3 straight overtime games in a row in the playoffs, and they started off again this year. Only this year they did not come away with the win. They ended up losing 1-0 in a game. They really outplayed them. But by the
Hmm.
time we got done with the game, looked at the clock, figured out how long it was going to take us to get out of the cities and get to River Falls, we just decided that that wasn't going to happen. So yeah, I apologize to Somerset and River Falls because I was really looking forward to get over and see that game also. But so as they say, sometimes life happens. Didn't make it.
Oh, one thing I forgot to mention was that the Pines win over Mosinee was the first non-upset of any of the games I went to. I mean, if you know, Spash was the number 3 seed. They upset Wausau West. They upset the number 1 seed, uh, Hudson. Before that, well, and yeah, the girls' game, Northland Pines upset the Storm. The week before that, I saw Stevens Point Pacelli upset the number 3 seeded Anago Red Robins, and I started off watching New Richmond upset DC Everest. So this was the first game I saw where the home team or the top seeded team actually won.
Okay, Dan, got a lot of got a lot of miles put on your car this year.
Yeah,
All right,
been fun.
what's that?
It's been fun. I'm enjoying it. Having a good time.
All right. Well, let's talk about our quench players of the playoffs. That's right, we're talking playoffs. Starting D2 with Josh Graves, a defenseman. Weren't you guys just talking about him? I believe so. Northland Pines in the Mosinee game. He had 2 goals. And against Lakeland, he had 2 goals and 3 assists. I think it's Rhinelander, 4 goals, 1 assist. So put some points on the board. That's talking about the D2 player of the playoffs, Josh Graves of Northland Pines. D1, is it Owen Cook or is it Koch? You guys don't know either. I'm going to go with Cook.
Good call.
Forward from Madison Edgewood, 7-4 win over Monona Grove. He had a big game, four, I believe that says 4 goals here, 1 assist for 5 points. And beat Onalaska as well on the 24th, 2 goals in the game. And against Aquinas, he had 2 goals and 4 assists for 6 points. So Owen, Cook, or Koch, not sure which one it is. Forward for Madison Edgewood had a great playoff run, and it's not over with yet. On the girls' side, Sophia Martinelli, goalie from Cap City Cougars, in a 2-0 win against Beaver Dam. She stopped 29 shots, allowed no goals. And win over the Badger Lightning, 6-0 win, 19 shots, no goals. And in a 13-0 win over the Viroqua Blackhawks, she only saw 7 shots, but she stopped all 7 of them. And that's a 1,000 save percentage for the last 3 games, carrying the Cap City Cougars into the state tournament. And she's our girls' playoff player of the week. They're all brought by Quench. The players of the playoffs, pretty good bunch there. Those kids did very well, and their seasons are still rolling on. And guys, whoever nominated those kids, I'll tell you what, they knew what they were doing because this is a good bunch of kids who were the player of the playoffs.
Well,
Okay, everybody agrees with me. All right. State tournament preview. Let's go ahead and preview the D2 state tournament. Who wants to take at this one?
it'll start on Thursday at 9:30 in the morning, with number 1 seed Wanakee taking on 4 seed Amory, and then pick up at 1:30 in the afternoon as 2 seed Northland Pine takes on 3 seed Somerset down at Bob Suter's Legacy 20 Arena in Middleton. Amory has been kind of a Jekyll and Hyde team this season. They've lost some games they probably shouldn't have. Um, 2-1 against DC Everest, 5-3 against Sheboygan. Those aren't bad teams, but not the kind of losses you want to see out of a state tournament team. 3-2 against Reedsburg Dells. They've lost to Somerset twice, 7-6 and 8-5. Uh, so I think Amory is they're a good team, but I don't know that they're quite as good as they were last year, and they're going to have a real test with Wanakee.
Wanakee Warriors for a number of years have had some pretty good teams and just haven't been able to get over the hump. And this year they do. Coach Jace Drake.
This is their first trip to state.
Yep.
Chase Drake from Mosinee.
Yep.
Yep. Former Badger.
And
Yep.
for their part, Wanakee, they beat the Bay Area Storm, who were a D1 sectional finalist, or no, they lost in the semifinals to De Pere. They've got a win over Sun Prairie, who was near ranked all year. They lost a 3-1 game against Tomahawk, and I mean the Tomahawk Hudson game showed you how good Tomahawk is. 4-2 game against Muskego, they lost. Muskego was the sectional finalist in Division One. So they've had a nice season down there. I kind of wonder how they got to be D2, because they're one of the larger schools in D2 now. But things shuffle around every year with teams being forced up and down. So apparently they're D2 now, and it's working out for them so far.
Somerset and Northland Pines, you said that's an afternoon game?
Yeah,
That
since they put the space in all the games.
okay. So obviously give a give a little bit of time for just in case you have overtime and just
Well,
plain
they
letting
clean
the
the
ice set up a little bit.
well, they
Arthur,
kick everybody out of the arena after every game. You don't buy a session anymore, you buy a game.
Okay.
Somerset's another team that's been kind of all over the place. They had a run there where their goalie was hurt, where they lost a couple games that they'd probably like back, but otherwise they've had a really nice season. They played Northland Pines earlier this year, and Pines beat them 5-2, but that was way back on December 12th. I don't know how much December matters once you get to March. Shots in that game were even 29-28, so it was probably a pretty evenly played game most of the way through.
We'll go to the boys D1
Well,
in
hey,
just a moment.
just hang on. I mean,
Okay.
Northland. Yeah, this is the first time I saw Northland Pines, but they are a solid team that does all of the little things right. They block shots. They back each other, and every time there's a whistle, the closest Pines player to the puck picks it up and hands it to the nearest official. Every time, all game long. Just little things like that. They're just and defensively they're solid. Their goaltender Everett Leslie, I think he's a unfortunately I think he's a Team Wisconsin U16 goalie, along with the Pine or the Spash goalie Zach Burdick. So I know Team Wisconsin U16 had to do some sort of playoffs yesterday and today. Um, without either of their goalies. So I don't know how that went. We'll have to look that up later. But that's not what we're talking about tonight. But Pines is good. Pines can shut teams down.
And they're going to get their chance on Thursday to do that.
I would say probably no one's probably played a tougher schedule than Somerset going into this either. Maybe Wanakees might be in the ballpark, but you look at Somerset's schedule and the D1 teams that they played and the teams they played from Minnesota, that's pretty much where all their losses came from. And they lost those two at the end of the year to Ashland and New Richmond, where they basically sat out 6 or 7 of their players for disciplinary reasons. So maybe that little bit of a fire under that group too. So, but yeah, they play a tough schedule.
Guys, ready to move to the girls' side? I'll take that as a yes. Thursday in the afternoon, the girls at 4:30. The Cap City Cougars take on the Bay Area Ice Bears.
Yeah, that's a repeat repeat from last year. So same two teams are gonna meet. And for Bay Area, it's their fourth straight trip to the state tournament. And of course, they're looking to win back to back and potentially 3 out of 4 if they can get it done down there in Cap City. This is their third straight trip, and they have drawn the number 1 seed all 3 times that they've got there. So that's probably not ideal. But yeah, Bay Area, obviously, I don't know what else we can say about them. They've proven that they are the top team in the state for the last 2 years. I mean, they're 49-3 in the last 2 years, so that's pretty dominating. Um, led the state in scoring and goals allowed. Um, so they've made this will be their 7th state tournament appearance and they're 8-2, which that's a pretty good record for getting to state. Re-spearing their goalie does maybe get the respect she deserves. She she wins. She's got an 0.96 goals against, 94.2 save percentage. They have Addison, kind of unique. They have Addison Dahl and Ava McDonald, two defensemen that are both up for the Molly Engstrom Defenseman Award. And then Brunke, just a gamer, I think. Like she thrives on these moments, I believe, on these big games, and she's had another good year. Not maybe to the standard she set last year, but certainly has maybe been even more of a team player this year and has got her points. Lily Lyons, who had 5 points a year ago, has 33 points this year for the Ice Bears. Coach's daughter, Aisling Buchan, has 33 points from 18 a year ago. And then Hannah Von Hayden's always solid for them. Again, she's a senior and she has 19 goals, 34 points. The knock on Cap City will be that they have actually, I was a little bit, didn't believe this. I had to go back and look twice, but they had to have the 27th, the worst rated schedule according to my hockey rankings. Um, and against teams that were over 500 this year, they were 2-4-1. And both those wins were against Beaver Dam. So, but they got Martinelli, who can turn a game, any game. She had another great year, 16-6, 1.79 goals against average. And then they have probably the hottest goal scorer, hottest point producer in the state right now, and Penny Leffelholtz, and she has 44 points on the year. And she has just been on fire and playing extremely well. In her last 15 games, she has 15 goals and 19 assists. So she's, put up a lot of points in those games. And then they have an 18 goal scorer in Rachel Olm and a 17 goal scorer in Lily Wagner. But, when you look up and down at the stats and compare scores and all that stuff, it looks like it's going to be a mismatch. But I think Martinelli has the potential to keep that game close for Cap City.
She's probably going to have to have a really good game to keep that game close because Bay Area, it just seems like wow. Do they just Dan? Do they just reload every year? I mean, there's no rebuild; it's just a reload.
Well, it kind of looks like it, at least right now. Like I said, the four straight state tournament appearances, and they lost some pretty good players a year ago that they seem to have replaced. And I just they play a really strong team game. They're very, very system driven. They're very disciplined. They probably pass the puck as good or better than any team you'll watch. Um, but I mean that one game where the puck doesn't bounce your way, and that can happen at any point.
So many variables that could come into point: injuries, penalties, uh, so many things. And Cap City, I'm sure, might need a few, and it should be a good game between them and Bay Area because they're going to give Bay Area their best shot. Thursday night, 7:30. Superior Spartans take on the St. Croix Valley Fusion. We were talking about Superior being at the state tournament. That used to be a yearly thing, didn't it?
For the
At least on
boys,
the
yeah.
boys' side.
I don't know. Madison Memorial may have more appearances than them. I don't know between the two. I think it's not sure where that lands for the boys, but it's funny because the girls team is at Madison a lot like the boys teams used to be, with a record that's under 500. So they come in with 11-13 record, but played the second toughest schedule in the state on the girls side. And they struggled a little bit down the stretch. They beat Hayward 3-2 in the playoffs. Got an overtime game winner from Addie Benson, and then of course they beat Pines, who was looking for their third straight big upset, but that did not happen. But they will meet a real formidable opponent. The Fusion is on a 13-game winning streak. So they're going to have to deal with that, and they're playing, I think, probably their best hockey of the year right now. They beat a really good Hudson team 3-1, and then beat Western 4-2. And they're kind of there's not really anywhere to look at them and see a weak length. A little bit like Bay Area, I think their goaltender Caitlin Gustafson has been really, really good. She has a 138 goals against. She's 22-4. And out of the five finalists for the Jesse Vetter Award, she's the only one that got her team to the state tournament. Um, and she's playing at the top of her game right now. They have the Forward Award finalist, Janelle Award. I'm not going to tackle that last name. I know I've heard it, but I still don't know how to pronounce it. Morgan Keevel. She has 18 goals, 17 assists. Jane Volgren, 21 goals. Her sister, freshman Jenna Volgren, 13 goals, 20 assists. She's had a really good year, freshman year. And then Lily Middle, a bit of a breakout year with 16 goals for the Fusion. So they don't really, like I said, they can score. They have the goaltending. They play three lines. And so they will be, I think they will be a handful for whoever they meet. Superior, obviously, first, and then if they are fortunate enough to move on. Beyond that, for Superior, it's about Addie Benson. And, I kind of joked with my wife the other day, like it's like sometimes that S on her jersey kind of reminds me a little bit of her superpowers because there's times when she can really take over a game. She's just really very high skilled player that can get a lot done out there, seemingly by herself. She's not doing it by herself, but sometimes you get that illusion. And then she has some good line mates. So they're a one line team. They're a real strong first line, and then it'll be a challenge. Their second line is a decent group, but their third line does not play much. So I think that could be a big factor in this game because the Fusion will play three lines. Their third line gave up the first goal of the game against Western Wisconsin the other night in the first 5 minutes of the game. I've seen coaches never not put their third line back out the rest of the game when that's happened, but they were right back out there three shifts later. So they will play. Um, the other thing for Superior, they have the best power play in the state percentage wise, 34.5%. They have 19 power play goals. Benson has 8 of those. And their question mark is their goaltender Peyton Benoit. She took over for an injured goalie, and she has 6-9 since she's taken over, but she only allowed 2 goals through the playoffs and played really well in her 2 playoff games. So that will be a big thing. I think it'll come down to Spartans playing 2 lines, Fusion playing 3, Benson versus Keevel, and Gustafson versus Benoit, and we'll see how it turns out from there. Should be a good game though. They did play earlier in the year. I think I missed that, and St. Croix Valley beat them. Not earlier in the year, they actually played January 31st. St. Croix beat them 3-1, but shots were 25-24. So could be a great game.
To answer a question you asked earlier, Madison Memorial has 32 state tournament appearances. Superior has 38.
Wow, I was thinking it was going to be more like 19 and 20. I
No.
that's
You take the number of championships they have and then add the number of losses they have because you can't lose more than one. Um, and Madison Memorial is 36-24 in their state tournament appearances. Superior is 61-25.
wow.
They have
Mm.
one more loss and 25 more wins in individual games. So Superior is the toast of the town.
And then, but then the other thing there too is like all of the, well, not all, but virtually all of their state tournament appearances were probably 8 teams. So they're playing 3 games
Well,
instead.
right, but I mean, when we started doing the Wisconsin prep hockey, this may have even been as recently as like 2005. Um, Superior hadn't just been in the state tournament; they had been in 67% of the championship games.
That's the big difference. besides the 13 championships, Superior has a lot of runners up too. And that's what kind of set them apart. And since the year 2000, Madison Memorial has been to the state tournament 5 times. Superior has been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 times. So that's where the separation happened between those two is when the millennium flipped over. Superior just kind of bolted ahead in there.
Oh, you're saying when Vic Levine retired.
I
Uh,
guess.
Might have
I
a little
remember
to do with it.
I remember 2005 they didn't get there. That was the year that they were pretty loaded for bear and Janesville beat them in overtime.
Yes, Madison Memorial went in 2000, 2002, 2003, 2004, and 2015.
Yeah,
For
it's
the Superior girls, they went in 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006. So the first 4 tournaments, and then they didn't go back again until 2023.
Okay. D1?
all right.
Now that we've got the facts out of the way.
All right, let's move on to D1. Friday, 10 o'clock in the morning, the De Pere Voyagers take on Spash.
It's
Hmm.
De Pere's
This is
first
gonna,
trip, isn't it?
I believe so. I have the thing up, I can look. But this is gonna come down to how much Spash dominates the first period. Um, De Pere has not seen a team as fast as Spash. They have their games against Notre Dame. They have their games against Nina. Neither of those teams is as fast as Spash. Edgewood had those kind of games too, and when they met Spash a couple weeks ago, Spash absolutely kicked them around the ice in the first period, and then after that, it was an even hockey game once they adjusted and caught up. So for De Pere, this is going to be how do we stop the bleeding in the first period so that we can catch up and play the next two? Because they have not seen a team as fast as Spash. For their part, De Pere, they've had a really nice season. They got some votes in the top 6. I don't think they ever actually cracked the rankings, but they were in the also received votes several times. They lost to Nina 2-0 during the regular season, but then obviously they beat them in the sectional final. They beat Notre Dame Academy 5-3 back in January. They beat the Bay Area Storm 4-1. They beat them in the sectional semifinal as well. They beat Fond du Lac Springs 8-4. Springs had a nice team this year. But then back in December, they lost to Notre Dame and they lost to the Bay Area Storm. Um, so De Pere's a good team, but they're not like a super team. They've got a tough road against Spash.
Well, and Spash did lose a second line forward during the Wausau West game. Bo Schrader went awkwardly into the boards and ended up tearing his ACL.
Oh,
So he is out. He did
Again,
not play against Hudson, and he will not play again for quite some time.
I believe Bo Schrader missed most
I'm
of
sorry, I
last
didn't say.
year.
Did I say tore his ACL? I'm sorry. He suffered a lower body injury.
I believe he missed most of last season with a torn ACL. Or maybe that was Fletcher and Bo was on the
Lower
team.
body injury.
Yeah. One of the two Schraders, there's Bo and Fletcher. One of them missed most of last season with a torn ACL. Um, so either they've got twin injuries now or the same one did it twice. I'm not going to go back and look up last year's stats.
Okay.
Um, Spash's first line of Grady Miller, Grant Molsky, and whoever they happened to set with them that day. It's been several different people. It's been Bo Schrader. It's been Fletcher Schrader. It's been Benny Abbott. Um, whoever they put with them that day is just so insanely fast that it's hard for any other teams to keep up. We've talked about how great Owen Porter is for Edgewood, and when I saw Edgewood and Spash play, Edgewood was on their heels the whole first period. It was It looked like the game was going to get ugly. And then Edgewood caught up, and that's what De Pere's going to have to do. They're going to have to catch up fast because that line is just absurdly quick.
I look forward to seeing that line. I've heard so much about Spash and their speed from you guys that kind of got me curious to see just how fast they really are.
And it's not just that they're fast, they play a very intense brand of hockey, which at times over the last couple of years has gotten them in trouble because they are so fast and they play so intense, they will take penalties. They're going to give you power play opportunities. Um, they score a fair number of shorthanded goals while they're at it, but they play fast and they play intense. Depending on what set of refs they get, if they get a couple Southern refs, you might see a parade to the box for the Panthers.
I would make it a little more interesting.
There would.
JP Capo has been the coach at De Pere for like ever, hasn't he?
Yeah,
How
I think so. I used to see him at the Waupun Seniors tournament at the end of the season. Spent some time in the beer tent with him.
Yeah, going back to the oldest season we have on Wisconsin Prep Hockey, the 2010-2011 season, he was listed as the De Pere coach. That was his first season as the De Pere coach. He moved over from Green Bay United.
Okay.
So, like, he's been there for, geez, that's 15 years now. And now they're making their first trip to state. That's good for him.
Well, it's always special to make a trip to state.
And anybody can win.
Yeah, all you got to do is get here. Things happen. Also on Friday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, University School takes on the Madison Edgewood Crusaders.
These two teams played each other two
Not too
weeks
long
ago.
ago.
The last
Yeah.
game of the regular season for Edgewood, the second to last game of the regular season for USM. Shots were closer than you'd think based on the score. Edgewood outshot USM 28-22, but the game ended 8-2 final. Um, Stacked pretty heavily in the favor of the Crusaders. Owen, I'm going to go with Coke because we've used every other pronunciation of his last name so far tonight. Had 2 goals and 2 assists in that one. Owen Barnett had a goal and 2 assists. Owen Porter had a goal and 4 assists. Will Rothering, last year's state championship hero, I believe, had a goal and 2 assists. Um, when I watched them play against Spash, the 3 Owens were their first line, but I don't think that's always the case. I think some nights Will Rothering is the second wing on that first line. It moves around a little based on whatever Coach Rothering is feeling for that day. But yeah, 8-2 just 2 weeks ago.
And you can bet that's been sitting in the back of a U School's mind, that game. And they're going to get a chance to, try to right the ship a little bit against Madison Edgewood. But, the things I've seen about Madison Edgewood on TV, uh, mostly the local news, but it seems like after the first period, this team just turns it on. They put the puck in the back of the net and they put it in the back of the net in a hurry. So we'll see how
Yeah,
University
they
School
got
handles
so
it.
I mean, Edgewood got so far ahead in the USM game that they changed their own goalie.
Hmm.
Like their 2 goalies each played 25 minutes and change to add up to the 51 minutes, not because either one was playing bad. They were so far ahead they put in the other one. That's not something you see that often.
And I'm waiting for your dad to say, did they do it on the fly?
That would be hilarious. I've never seen a goalie change on the fly. Yeah, looking at their score by period, yeah,
I,
Edgewood
I was
scored,
just going to say, yeah, MJ's actually correct on this one.
they scored 42 goals in the first period. 70 goals in the second period and 57 in the third period. So that
Oh,
second period is a big one for them because they are a fast offensive team. They can take advantage of the long line change in that second period on the other team's defense if they can hold it in their zone for a little bit and wear them down.
To
What'd you say, Bill?
wonder if Edgewood's schedule ever works against them because they really need to beef that schedule up. I think when I look at who they play during the course of the year, they do have obviously they play some really strong teams, but there's a lot of big
They
scores on their
they
side.
they they schedule a good non-conference schedule, but their conference schedule isn't doing them any favors. But for non-conference, they've got Notre Dame twice, and I mean they don't know that Notre Dame's going to be down like they were this year, but they had Notre Dame twice. They had Wausau West, they had Brookfield, they had Eau Claire Memorial, they had Verona, they had Spash, they had University School. But yeah, the conference part of their schedule is not doing them any favors. No offense to any, Badger Conference people out there, but it's not a particularly strong group outside of the top three.
yeah, and two of those are Division Two,
Yeah, Wanakee and McFarland.
McFarland.
Yeah, that's right. So then the winner of this game and the winner of the Spash De Pure game will end up playing on Saturday. Guys, what time do they play on Saturday?
7 o'clock.
7 p.m.
Oh my, past my bedtime.
Yeah, the championship games are at 11, 3, and 7.
Yeah, I think we had time to go out and get something to eat between each game last year.
Okay.
I've
This is
been
one of
press
those
passes. That easy.
this is one of those years where I don't have a whole lot of conflict. Actually, I don't have any conflict in the state tournament due to my other commitments because they have the weekend off. So get to actually take that game in.
Well, as everybody here knows, I didn't get to do any sectional finals this year, which is unusual because I had to be at my own squirt state tournament this weekend. And I'm hoping that I have the same problem next year. Whether or not that happens is a whole other thing. I'm hoping that I have that same problem. And then, if my daughter continues playing co-ed hockey instead of girls hockey, when she's a peewee, I might be at a state tournament there instead of at the high school state tournament,
Yeah.
at least for Saturday. I gotta,
Unless Wah
I gotta convince her that when she's a peewee, she has to go play girls hockey because the 12U girls play state tournament the same weekend as the squirts, so it'll be a week before our state tournament.
how did they do this weekend?
Not great. No, we were the seventh seed going into the tournament. We were the eighth seed when it was done. We finished last place. As a true C2 team, which there aren't that many of in Division Two, I think we were the only one. Um, our talent ceiling was less high than the other C teams there. Most of them had kids that would play on our team, but some of them would play on our C1 team. And over the course of a game, those kids that would play on the C1 team wear our kids down. So the first game we played against the 2 seed. I am so happy with how the kids played. They were awesome, and it was 0-0 4 minutes into the third period, a 7 seed against the 2 seed. But in the end, they wore us down and they won 4-1. The same thing happened in our third game against River Falls. I swear to God, there's a kid on that squirt team that shoots harder than I do.
With a
And
Bantam?
he shoots like a bantam. But he's 9 or 10. I don't know how old he is. I know he knocked my daughter out of the game for several shifts when she blocked a shot. It hit her in the chest and she missed several shifts, but she got back out there. But yeah, so we finished eighth. The C1 team at Everest finished second. So overall, it was a pretty successful weekend. We were happy to be there. The kids had fun, and that's what was most important.
What'd you think of the rink?
It's great. The new, I mean, if you weren't paying attention or you were like, you just left the bar or whatever, you might think it's a grocery store with the big Woodman sign out front. Um, but because it's a big square building with a Woodman sign out the front. So if you pulled in and looked for groceries, I wouldn't blame you. But
And
inside,
and the
it's a
front doors
beautiful rink.
slide like a grocery store do.
Yes, but it's got automatic doors, which isn't something you see on a lot of hockey rinks. Um, but it's a beautiful rink. One of the probably the nicest rink we've played in all year. It would have been nice if they turned the heat on in the main rink.
Yeah.
The heaters over the bleachers were not on, so the seasonal rink was actually a good 20 degrees warmer than the main rink. But you know, we liked the ice, we liked the facilities. Everybody there was really nice. I had to hide the fact that the
The
convention
lovely Mrs. Berg says the concession stands are overpriced.
they are very
I
expensive.
agree with her.
$3 bucket of popcorn when most other rinks are at a dollar is tough.
Bratwurst, $5.
Yeah, but it's a nice it's a really nice rink. Um, it's good that Janesville's got that now, and there was there was a reptile expo going on in the convention center side of the building, and I had to hide that fact from my daughter because she desperately wants a gecko.
My
So I'm
goodness.
like, don't look over there, don't go wandering.
Gecko might
Come
get
back
you.
over to, she'll come back over to the ice side with a lizard.
Okay, so I'll getting back to the state tournament. Brett and I were talking. We had a long drive back from Eagle River. 45 minutes longer than it used to be because I don't get to just stop in Antigo anymore. But the D1 Splash Panthers, heavy prohibitive favorite coming in. The girls Bay Area, heavy prohibitive favorite coming in. D2 wide open. I think the most exciting action is going to be in the Division Two this year. I think that any of those teams could win and get bumped up to Division One next year. Yay!
Poor Tomahawk.
Well, either Amory or Somerset's going to join them. I think they were both at the tournament last year. So if one of them wins, they're going up.
Yep, Pines won't. They didn't get any points last year.
Right.
Um, and Wanake's a bubble team anyway, so if a team drops back down, they go up anyway. Um, so yeah,
A lot of years Wanakee in youth hockey has had some teams that have went on to state and won at the Waha level, but they've never been able to get that group that gets to the state tournament. Finally, this year, looks like they're able to do that. So good for them.
well, I mean, Waha's success can be misleading because there's four divisions,
Yeah.
and you like everybody goes to the state tournaments. There's
Yeah.
there's a lot of state tournaments.
And sometimes you're just there because you're hosting.
Yes.
Can think of a year where we hosted and we probably didn't have any business being there, but there we were.
Yeah, as far as co-ed hockey, squirt, peewee, and bantam, there's 27 state tournaments.
Yeah.
So everybody,
Yes, there
yeah,
is.
everybody's got a decent shot.
All right. Well,
D2 should be fun. D2 has been the most fun bracket the last couple of years anyway, in my opinion. Uh, Like obviously Tomahawk was a prohibitive favorite last year and they won, but the game they played against McFarland, that was a great hockey game.
Yes, it was.
yeah, that
They
McFarland
I mean
goalie played well.
yeah, they did. And well, the whole team played well, and Tomahawk just kind of wore them down by the end with their speed. And it was too much. But I think the D2 tournament since the two division format has been implemented has been fantastic.
Unfortunate. It took them like 30 years to do it.
And then they took away 8 teams from D1.
Yeah.
So
So
it's actually mathematically harder to make the tournament as a D1 team now than it was in the single division format because the brackets are bigger.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, 12 to 14 teams, whereas all the D2s are eights and some of the girls were six.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're heading into final thoughts. Anything you guys got to get off your chest?
I did. I saw one clip. I don't remember who it was. We talked about not being that guy and not being a knucklehead at the end of the game when your team is losing. I did see a video clip of somebody throwing their stick into the stands after the game. But otherwise, the games I saw were all good right to the end. Nobody did anything dumb. It was kind of funny at there was like after Pines scored their empty net goal, the 30 seconds left. They had the face off, the puck moved around a little bit, and it ended up with like, I don't know, 6 seconds left. Down in the corner behind his own net, Graves had the puck, and there was a Mosinee forward who was like coming in aggressively, and the other the other Pines defenseman just kind of stepped in front of him, said, put his hand up and said, "No, the clock's running down. Don't do this. Just stop." And he did. So it was all good.
I think the WIA needs to take a serious look at where they decide to award section finals. I just think we're getting to that point where they need to stop just letting any team put in for the section final and worry about rotating it around and just put it in an arena that can handle the capacity that it needs. And if you want a section final and you don't have a decent rink, then build a better one.
I don't think the WIAA is going to do that anytime soon because that would involve making a decision and somebody using some form of judgment. And every rule the WIAA has is designed to remove judgment from the equation.
This is the rule, period. It's
This
like
is the rule you will follow.
Wausau West has hosted state tournament, or not state, has hosted sectional finals. But when they do it at Greenhack. They're at Greenhack and host the final there because Marathon Park is
Nice.
not it's not good.
No, it should
It
not hold a section final ever.
yeah. I
And
mean
there's
that
a
place.
lot of rinks that should go on that list. There's quite a few.
Yeah, I mean the sectional finals. I mean they should be limited to like Westman Arena up in Superior, Hobbs in Eau Claire, Southwood County down in Rapids, Greenhack, Cornerstone, Community First Center down in just rinks that can hold at least 1,500 people.
Fines.
How about UW Panthers Arena this year, letting sectional final be there?
That was nice, but that one's too big.
That one, I mean,
Yeah.
that arena is the same size as the Alliant Energy Center was. I mean, that had to feel cavernously empty.
Uh,
Yeah.
and so while I'm asking the WIA to make decisions, I'll make a second request, and that is that they split up the section finals so we don't have 9 of them on Friday and 3 of them on Saturday.
Oh, I know. We always look forward to, we get the sectional finals and plot them out, who can do what. And there's like 9 games on Friday night,
There
one
are
game Saturday
there
afternoon,
are
and there's
12 sectional
2 on
finals. It
Sunday.
should not be that hard to
No,
have 4 on Friday, 4 in the early afternoon on Saturday, and 4 in the evening on Saturday.
that would be perfect. Like, and it could be done. Like, it really wouldn't take that much planning.
You just Division 2, you're playing on Friday. Girls, you're playing on Saturday afternoon. Boys, Division One, you're playing on Saturday evening.
Oh
Like,
God, you solved it.
yes, but why used judgment? And that's not allowed.
Yeah, I mean, I think they should look at that. I mean, there's people that would probably like to be able to go to more than one or two and not have to drive halfway across the state to do it.
And
But
Yeah,
as an
we had,
example,
but about a dozen years ago, we had pushed the idea of super sectionals back when it was still just, the 8 team Division One, of hosting like back-to-back sectional finals like at Greenheck or at Hobbs, you
I think
know.
that's a great idea too. I mean, good if you have a great facility, yeah, hold one at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, hold another one at 7 at night.
yeah, as an example of the WIA not applying judgment, Baldwin Woodville had to vacate a bunch of wins this year. We don't know all the details, but I do know that the family that moved to Baldwin Woodville lives and works there, but their old house hasn't sold yet. And the WIA rule is that if your previous residence hasn't sold, then you don't count as having moved because of people in the back in the day who used to rent an apartment in the neighboring city so that they could play for that team, but they never actually moved there. So
Right,
the
and
rule
they
is
they
that
they
your
priced their
previous
house they priced their house at twice what it was worth, and
right. So if your previous house hasn't sold, maybe because the housing market is absolute shit, you can't transfer because you've moved. Your whole family has moved to a new house. You have new jobs. You're all there, but your old house hasn't sold. You're screwed until it does
But
because they can't apply judgment.
somebody has tried to do exactly what Burglar just said, list their house at twice as much so they can go play there for a year and then just go back up. So he did,
Right.
well, I guess we'll move back.
So that the rule becomes the rule and judgment can never be applied. It can never be looked into. That's just the rule and that's how it is and that's how it will stay. Because if you never apply judgment to your rules, it's much harder to get sued. Their rules are designed around not getting sued, not around what's doing best for the schools, not around what's doing best for the athletes. The rules are designed to have a rule and not get sued when it is applied.
I'm trying to think back years ago, I want to say around 2006 when Eau Claire Memorial, didn't they have to forfeit some games because they had a kid who
Yep, they did.
had an address? And then I remember North had a kid who was coming in and there was a big stink put up about that.
all I remember is free bungee.
That's it. Ryan Goodmanson, free bungee.
He was an Amory kid, wasn't he?
I think so.
I mean, didn't um, former Badger, current Penguin AHL player Daniel Latch cost Notre Dame Academy a whole bunch of wins?
Hmm, I
Because
think so.
he was at Ram before he was at Notre Dame, and I believe Notre Dame lost their 2017-2018 season because of it. Most of it. Like those wins were vacated after the season was over.
I don't
They
remember
didn't
that
win.
one.
They didn't win state that year.
No, but they were good.
Yeah.
And then he went
No,
on to the NTDP for a couple of years, and then Madison, and then you know Penguins AHL team.
no. Is that the AHL team? Is that they playing in Hershey still?
The Wilkes Barre Scranton Penguins.
Oh, okay. I was thinking the Hershey Bears. Okay. Um, I wasn't on the show last week with you guys, but uh wanted to bring up, and now this will be the last time I do it. Bring up the thing of the Olympics of how that finished. United States wins. I mean, Canada had some really good chances to win that game, and all you hear about is, well, it wasn't real hockey because it's 3-on-3. And
You only hear that from Canadians.
well, yeah, but everybody plays by the same rules. The rinks, it is what it is. But
If you
I
put
just hear that, and it's just like that's what they're already doing at the NHL. People complain about that.
in the regular season, if you put Connor McDavid, Nathan MacKinnon, and Cale Makar on the ice at the same time, and then complain that you lost 3-on-3, you're just whiny.
Yeah. And the thing is, 3-on-3, unlike a shootout, 3-on-3 is real hockey because we have all been at hockey games where, because of penalties and stuff, they're playing 3-on-3. It happens. 3-on-3 is
Mhm.
hockey.
It might not be ideal. We would all like to see a five-man, 5-on-5 overtime, but the IHF doesn't see it that way. And like, I just take Canada's whining about the 3-on-3 thing as sour grapes. They put out Connor McDavid, Nathan MacKinnon, and Cale Makar. They're like the three fastest guys in the NHL, and they didn't get it done. Boo
When you
hoo.
when you go back and you watch that just before the U.S. scored the game-winning goal, you see Connor McDavid flying down those boards, and they just he cut in towards the net, and they just kind of shut him off right there, and
hmm
somehow they end up going the other way.
McKinnon missed a wide open net in the third period,
Yep.
like wide left. Wide, there was no chance of Hellebuck making a save on that one. He just missed the
No,
net. And
no.
then Makar played some of the worst defense I've ever seen on Boldy's goal. Boldy skated through Makar and Taves, and Taves turned and went for the puck. In that situation, if the two defensemen are pinching on a guy skating through them, one in turns and goes for the puck, the other one puts a shoulder into the forward. Cale Makar did nothing on that play. He pivoted, he didn't chase, he did nothing. It was some of the worst defense I've ever seen from an NHL defenseman, let alone a Norris Trophy candidate at the Olympics. It was awful.
You're talking about Matt Boldy's goal?
Yeah, the
Yes.
first goal.
Okay.
Where
The game the game
he
winning
flipped
goal.
the puck between the two guys and then just kind of fought his way between them.
He went between them. Makar did nothing on that play. Go watch that play. Kale Makar may as well have been a pylon.
He's not out there to play defense.
Sometimes you have to play it a little.
Well, even when the U.S. scored on that play, look at when it goes back into the offensive zone for the U.S. I mean, Nathan MacKinnon just got bodied off that puck, and you watch, and there was one of the guys. I'm not sure which guy it was for Canada, but he was slow on the back check. He was way behind, and next thing you know, here's Jack Hughes wide open, and game over.
Oh, that was, yeah. The lovely Mrs. Bergen and I were watching that game, and the puck went down there, and Zach Wierenski of the
Werenski, yeah.
York, he was just busting ass down there. We're just screaming, beat him to it, beat him to it, beat him to it. And he wrestled the defenseman for the puck, got it, looked up, saw Hughes over there in the middle, and yeah, we're just screaming, beat him, beat him, beat him.
It
And he
was
did.
nice to see that in his return to Toronto, the Leafs fans actually gave Austin Matthews an ovation. I will say, I have watched a lot of Maple Leafs games over the last 4 or 5 years. I have never once seen Austin Matthews backcheck as hard in a Maple Leafs game as I saw him do the entire Olympics. Not
Amazing.
once. Because he was busting his ass in all those games back checking, and he does not do that for the Maple Leafs. He scores goals.
When you watch when the U.S. picked up the puck in their own zone, Cale Makar kind of got caught there in no man's land from pinching or staying back, and that's what happened when Werenski picked up the puck because he got it. He wasn't sure, and he kind of turned sideways, and next thing you know, Werenski's going back the other way, and he's going to take on MacKinnon for that
As
puck.
Dan said, Cale Makar is not out there to play defense.
Well, okay, now let's go back to the girls' game, women's game, sorry, women's game. the overtime goal there. It's 3-on-3, and the long pass to the USA woman on the goal line, and that had to have been a forward for Canada who was back there with her because she just tried skating across and stealing the puck.
Yes, that was the wrong
Defensemen
play.
do not play that way. Defensemen, you know, get in front, pivot, keep them in front. She just tried to go for a straight pick, and she whiffed.
That's what when I was watching that game, I think I was sitting next to Lorelai, and when she went straight across, makes for an easy toe drag to get
Yep.
around him. Like that has to be a forward because the
Yeah,
defenseman
defensemen would
would
not
have
play it that way.
pivoted there. They would have pivoted and gotten in front of them. But in 3-on-3 overtime, you end up with forwards in the back a lot,
Well, yeah, because you
Hmm.
generally put out two forwards and one defenseman.
and they're all going to jump up if given the opportunity.
Yeah.
No, that was it was pretty exciting stuff, guys. I didn't get a chance to catch up with you last week about it, but wow. I mean, I'll tell you what, I bet the Hughes boys are going to make some serious money off the ice doing
I don't
commercials.
know. Um, I saw the monologue of Saturday Night Live this week, and Jack and Quinn
I
were
did
both
too.
on there, and Jack Hughes has not yet learned how to read a script or off of a cue card or teleprompter without looking like he's reading and sounding like he's reading. Quinn, he did fine. Obviously, Hillary Knight, champion. She knows how to be on TV. But Jack Hughes, oof. I don't know that he's ready for on-camera endorsements yet. He needs to work on his prompter reading.
Not ready for prime time.
You know, the logistics of getting those guys on Saturday Night Live, all the two girls and the two guys, that they're spread out all over, and you try to get them all in one place at the same time. I mean, couple of those guys had games that day. Hillary Knight, I guess, is injured, so she wasn't playing. But uh, I want to say one of the Hughes brothers, was playing in St. Louis that afternoon, and they had to hurry up and fly him into New York City to do Saturday Night Live. But final thing about it is, hats off to USA Hockey for including the Gaudreau family in the whole situation, because it really, you know, I don't know, it's be so easy to forget about Johnny Gaudreau, from the accident, and he would have had a spot on this roster, but Team USA and USA Hockey kept his legacy alive, and they made sure that his 13 was included.
They stayed in the Olympic Village instead of a fancy hotel like the Canadians, so that's already a bonus point. Like they did the whole thing.
Hmm.
All right.
All right, guys. I think we've
That's all.
given enough. So for Bill, and Dan, I'm Mike Hammett. We'll see you at the state tournament. You've been listening to This Week in Wisconsin Prep Hockey.